Welcome guys and girls to the Main Event Podcast, the only podcast you need for all your weekly updates, news, information, rumours and entertainment surrounding the WWE. As always, I'm Reza, and I know this episode is up late again. This one I kind of did on purpose, only because the last episode went really late. I think that was on Sunday or Monday, I'm not 100% sure, but then if I recorded on the Tuesday as promised, there would be no news or anything to get through. So it probably would have been, a 20-minute episode. So I decided just to let this week go on. So we do have something to talk about, and we definitely do have some interesting stuff to look through today. It's been a whirlwind week for the WWE, to say the least, and it could be worrying times for the company, but we will get to that a little later on. We're continuing to build up to WWE Payback, which I believe will take place on the 1st of June. I think, but it is once again taking place at the All-State Arena in Chicago, Illinois. So as expected, some more matches and information have been released, but I'm here to keep you all aware of what is going on in episode 26 of the Main Event Podcast, which is the 23rd consecutive episode. Don't worry, there was no danger of missing out this time, because I did cut it very close last week, if I'm honest, but still managed to just about release one. And as always, I want to thank the fans and friends of the Main Event Podcast. I truly appreciate all of your support. However, you are showing it, whether you are tweeting to get people to tune in, or you're tuning in yourself once a week, or whether you recommend it. Any and all help is truly appreciated by myself and the others. Hopefully your efforts don't go to waste, but again, if you do find me on Twitter or Facebook, which I don't use that much, don't hesitate to contact me. I'm already having some in-depth conversations with a few of my followers, so it is refreshing to see who you guys like, what you enjoy about the current product. So yeah, please get in touch and I will talk all things WWE. Our content, as you know, as you're probably listening on different formats right now, different platforms, it's not only available on YouTube, but those of you that use iTunes on a regular basis as well, perhaps downloading our podcast off the iTunes store is a better option. As much as we enjoy watching the view tally rise on YouTube, we also want you to download the episodes if you can. BlackBerry users, you too can check us out on your store, wherever you download podcasts. We should be there. I've actually not checked. Podomatic.com, we also upload our content there, and of course Stitcher.com. There you can just add our podcast to your playlist, listen to us on the go. But yeah, as I said, we love the views, but downloads are equally as important to us, whether it is 100 listeners, 5 listeners, 2 downloads, 12 downloads, whatever. We do this because it is our passion, and we thank you for helping in any way possible. Remember, you can contact us in a variety of ways, anywhere and every way possible. You can like us on Facebook at The Main Event Podcast, send us an email at tmepodcast@gmail.com, and if you want to, you can visit our website www.tme-podcast.com. Hopefully now that I have a bit more free time, I should be able to update the site a little more often with a little more content if we do get more listeners. So yeah, please do get in touch for anything you want WWE related, and hopefully you stick with us on our journey to become a top or even a recognisable WWE podcast. Right then, once again, I do have the SmackDown review, the Monday Night review. I thought this week I also watched NXT, so I thought I will give that another go as well, another NXT review. I hope I can do this more often, depending on time. Time constraints is a big thing here. I'm a big fan of NXT, and I do hope my reviews do get more people tuning into NXT product as well. I do also have some big stories in the news section, a lot going on in terms of the future of the WWE. Some big details over the past few days or so have been released, so we will get to that a little later on. Before I finally do get to it, just another reminder, on our YouTube channel I have uploaded now 2 videos. Ones I've edited myself, uploaded myself, just for pure pleasure and boredom as well, if I'm being quite honest. The first is titled The Best Disses of 2013, just clips of insults put together, edited from myself, put it together for you guys, so please check that out. And now another video, just some good theme songs from certain NXT superstars. I think Sami Zayn, Enzo Amore, Adrian Neville, Tyler Breeze, superstars like that, they've made it in just one 20-minute audio track on there. So please do check those out, and I hope to complete a different video every single week alongside the podcast midweek if I stick to the schedule. But I will put a link in the YouTube description below. If you aren't listening on YouTube, then please do visit our YouTube channel and check out the videos and let me know what you think, and hopefully I can do a little more in the future. And now moving on to the first review of this episode. SmackDown from Albany, New York on the 9th of May 2014. Welcome to Friday Night SmackDown. We are shown highlights from the previous Raw, which is heavily involved around the Shield and Evolution. And we kick off the night with a United States title match between the new champion Sheamus as he takes on former champion and Shield member Dean Ambrose. Towards the end, they trade right hands. Ambrose with a knee to the gut but runs into the bro kick by Sheamus, which makes Ambrose fall out of the ring. Ambrose does, however, make it back into the ring. He misses the bro kick. He gets hit by the bro kick, and Sheamus pins the former champion. So Sheamus is still the United States champion. After the break, Paul Heyman is on commentary, so good news there for SmackDown viewers, as his client Cesaro teams up with Intercontinental Champion Bad News Barrett as they are in tag team action against Rob Van Dam and former Intercontinental Champion Big E. A short match, I think it was less than 3 minutes by my watch. RVD and Barrett started things off. Barrett attacked him. RVD did fight back with a springboard kick to Barrett. RVD went after Cesaro. It's a clothesline by Barrett. Big E hit a chokeslam for a near fall. RVD took out Barrett and then missed a spinning kick that either did or missed Big E. That kind of looked botched to me. Watch it and judge it for yourself. But then Cesaro did hit an impressive neutralizer on Big E for the victory. Your winners, Barrett and Cesaro. After another commercial break, Rusev versus Kofi Kingston. Kofi with a series of kicks to the legs of Rusev. Rusev catches him with a massive kick to the face. Very impressive looking. He runs into a kick by Kofi, hits a drop kick by a series of right hands, however we know which way this is going to go. Rusev picks him up, Kofi fights out of it and hits a crossbody. Rusev hits a big time power slam out of nowhere, he then locks in the accolade for the victory. Your winner, Rusev. Bray Wyatt is in the back, he talks about John Cena. He says that Cena is afraid of him and where they're going and no one comes back. Obviously, when a serious promo like that, the only way to follow up is by Santino with Emma taking on Fandango and Layla. That match was finished when Layla rolled up Emma from behind for the win. Layla and Fandango picking up the match. After the match, Fandango and Layla just kissed on stage for a while, making everyone uncomfortable. Roman Reigns versus Mark Henry. To start off, they locked into the match. Reigns with a series of right hands, but Henry used his power. I'm not even sure if he's face or a heel, if I'm being quite honest at this point. But Henry nailed a knee to the gut to Reigns, threw him around, threw him in the corner, sent him to the floor. Henry put him between the ring post and him, and he pulled his body to further damage the ribs of Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns did fight back though, hit a clothesline, then goes for it again, but runs into a massive clothesline by Mark Henry. Mark Henry does go for a splash off the top rope, but Reigns does fight him off. He hits a huge Samoan drop on Henry, and he nails the spear for the victory. Roman Reigns defeats Mark Henry. Los Matadores and El Torito versus Heath Slater, Drew McIntyre, and Hornswoggle. Towards the end of the match, Hornswoggle, he gets mad, argues with Heath Slater. El Torito tries to roll up, but Hornswoggle blocks it. He misses the sit-down splash. Slater then tags himself in, but he misses a spear, and El Torito rolls up Heath Slater for the victory. Your winners, Los Matadores and El Torito. We're then treated to the Raw Rebound, which is shown on screen. That revolves around WWE World Heavyweight Champion Daniel Bryan and his story with Kane so far. Another Shield member now, Seth Rollins, takes on Batista. It is 1-1 now, with Ambrose losing and Roman Reigns beating Mark Henry. Batista gets the jump to start things off. Rollins drop kicks him out of nowhere and then goes for a dive outside. A good match between the two. Rollins, again, impressive. The standout performer on the night, if I'm being quite honest. Towards the end of the match, Rollins hits an enziguri kick that sends Batista to the outside of the ring. He then hits an outside dive, which takes out Batista, but then Batista sends Rollins into the announce table face first. Batista gets into the ring, Rollins can't, and Batista wins the match via countout. After the match, Batista continues to beat down Seth Rollins. He hits the Batista bomb to send a further message to the Shield. On the night, the Shield lose 2-1. Roman Reigns was the only one who picked up a victory, whereas Dean Ambrose lost to Sheamus in the opening match for the United States Championship, and Seth Rollins lost in a countout decision to the Animal, Dave Batista. Main event time, John Cena teams up with the Usos as they take on the Wyatt family in another 6-man tag team match. Nothing special, a few good spots here and there. Rowan and Cena start things off. Cena hit an impressive suplex on Rowan, and as we know, Super Cena is fired up, to say the least. Towards the end, Jimmy Uso did hit a kick to the gut of Bray Wyatt, nailed a super kick to Harper for a near fall. Cena and Bray Wyatt started to brawl on the ground. Rowan joined them. Then Jay took out the 3 men at ringside with a dive. Harper hit a clothesline on Jimmy out of nowhere. Again, an impressive looking clothesline on Jimmy Uso for the victory. Your winners, the Wyatt family. The Wyatt stand tall to end this edition of Friday Night SmackDown. It was an average episode of Friday Night SmackDown. It just seemed like a house show, to say the least. There was nothing related to Payback as far as I can remember. No hype whatsoever to any match. Based on that, I think I'd give this show a 2 out of 5. It wasn't very good. Some of the matches were good, to be fair. As I said, Seth Rollins was the standout superstar of the night. Heyman was good on commentary as expected. Cesaro and Barrett looked good as a team. Nothing special on the whole though. This then leads us on nicely to Monday Night Raw. But before I do get onto the main show of Monday Night Raw, I just want to talk about the pre-show, which I'm not sure if a lot of you watch or not, because obviously it's only on the network and stuff, but I'm sure you can find it online. Obviously once you hear it, you probably know why I'm talking about it. Possibly the first and last time for that matter we will discuss the pre-show, only because something interesting did happen. As the panel was talking, they were interrupted by a more serious looking Damien Sandow. Of course, this was this was WWE's attempt at another shoot promo similar to what Punk did some years ago. He talked about how he feels. He talked about the WWE being a publicly traded company. Some insults aimed at Yoshitatsu. His microphone was cut off. He shouted at Josh Matthews a little bit. Mentioned a superhero outfit, which, as we know, he was forced to dress up as Magneto a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, his microphone was cut off. We'll see what direction he does go in. But yeah, I will talk a little bit more about that in the news section of what is going on. This week's Raw opens up with the highlights of the United States Battle Royal from last week's Raw. Then we see Triple H revealing the Shield versus the Wyatt family main event from last week's Raw. After that, clips from the match airs, complete with a run-in and beatdown at the end, courtesy of Evolution. After that video package ends, we shoot live into the arena where Michael Cole welcomes us to this week's episode of Monday Night Raw, and the Shield are already standing inside the ring. Dean Ambrose starts things off verbally, talking about how we saw something last week that we won't see again. All three members of the Shield getting the crap kicked out of them last week. Ambrose says that they want Evolution. Seth Rollins is next on the microphone. He says that they aren't running from Evolution, they are running to Evolution. If they have half the guts they should, they will accept their challenge for a rematch. He says when they show up here tonight, the Shield is going to run them down. He says they don't take anything away from Evolution, but that's in the past. They were really good, but not anymore. He says they can't evolve into what it takes to beat the Shield. Roman Reigns is pacing inside the ring looking quite angry. Rollins asks him, "Are you alright, big man?" And if he has anything to say, Reigns stares directly into the camera and talks about how they were ambushed and beat him up. But he asks, "Is that all you got?" Great reaction for that. He says if it is, he realises that it's not a big deal. He says the Shield will teach them justice and he personally will teach you to believe in me. He then throws the microphone down as our attention is turned to the Titantron where a limousine is pulling up. The fans try to break out into a Hounds of Justice chant, but it doesn't really spread as much as they probably wanted it to. The Shield stand in the ring, look at each other, and then decide to run out towards the back. Then we see Evolution standing backstage with Triple H, signing something on a clipboard. Out of nowhere, the Shield enters the picture, and all three members start taking it to all three members of Evolution. Various officials enter the scene and start breaking things up. But yeah, that's the first segment, a pretty good one as well. A statement of intent from the Shield. First match, Rob Van Dam takes on Jack Swagger, who has Zeb Coulter in his corner. We run into an odd time, because when we return, Zeb Coulter is still on the microphone mid-sentence. He says a bunch of heel stuff, trying to get the crowd to boo everything he and Swagger say. Swagger is holding Coulter's deportation list on a sign. Coulter does reveal he has a latest addition to the list, and that is Adam Rose. He trashes Rose a bit and then warns him to keep his distance. Finally, he concludes with the "We the People" stuff. Obviously, that always gets a good reaction. The bell rings, but before anything can happen, music starts playing. I don't know, some kind of Indian snake charming music kind of thing. Out come the Exotic Express members, or the Rosebuds, whatever we're calling them this week. Then Adam Rose music finally kicks in and he comes out dancing with his entire entourage. Swagger is distracted by Adam Rose and his crew. He turns around and out of nowhere Van Dam blasts Swagger with a big kick. He leaps onto the top rope in RVD fashion, 5-star frog splash, 1, 2, 3, RVD wins the match. After the victory, Adam Rose theme plays and Van Dam walks up the ramp with Rose and his party animals. Next match, Divas match, Paige versus Alicia Fox. The announcer team promotes the new Divas champion Paige quite a bit as well. A video package to really show off what she has achieved, which is, rightfully so as well. She's only 21 years old, and to win the Divas Championship is pretty impressive. When we return from a commercial break, Paige is making her way to the ring as the announce team promote the upcoming European Tour and Raw next week, right here in England, which takes place in London. Already in the ring is Paige's opponent for tonight, Alicia Fox. Surprising, to say the least. I thought this was going to be another squash match, but completely wrong. Alicia Fox gets on the microphone and says Paige has alienated the entire locker room already. She says she doesn't fit in and then hits her with a cheap shot. Alicia Fox continues to take advantage of the early lead she obtained via her sneak attack. Finally, the ref does call for the bell. Fox continues to punish her. She's the rookie. Paige hits the page turner out of nowhere on Fox and picks up the victory. After the match, Alicia Fox freaks out a little bit. Quite a lot, actually. She steals JBL's hat. JBL has no idea what's going on. I heard this wasn't scripted. JBL didn't know what to do. He didn't want to get in trouble. But yeah, some good back and forth action between Michael Cole and JBL bouncing off each other, which was good. She stole his hat and strutted her stuff up the ramp. Then a Daniel Bryan Kane video package airs. We are informed that Daniel Bryan will address the WWE Universe next. After the break, Daniel Bryan's music hits and the WWE World Heavyweight Champion makes his way to the ring. Before he can speak, the fans explode in a passionate yes chant. Bryan does thank the fans and talks about it being a long road to get to this point. Bryan recaps some of the obstacles he has had to overcome to finally get his WWE World Heavyweight Championship. He says being the champ puts a large target on his back. He says as soon as he becomes a champion, he got the worst beating of his life and describes some of the assault that he has suffered at the hands of Kane. He says he overcame that and beat Kane at Extreme Rules. He continues to talk about how the attack from Kane resulted in him paying the price. He says his style also results in him having to pay the price. He reveals that he needs to undergo neck surgery this coming Thursday, which he has obviously completed. He says there's a chance it could be, it could be the end of his career. He says even though there's a chance it won't happen. He says, will I come back? And responds to himself by leading the fans in another passionate yes chant. The fans start chanting along and his music plays again. Quick update, he has completed the surgery and we will see him next week, I hope. It is in London, so it could be via satellite. John Cena and the Usos take on the Wyatt family in a rematch from Friday Night SmackDown. Yep, but that's always good. A video package airs highlighting the recent history of the John Cena and Wyatt family feud. Michael Cole informs us that a 6-man tag team action will take place next. Cena's music hits. They all come out to the ring. Basically, Cena hits the attitude adjustment on Eric Rowan for the victory. After the match, Bray Wyatt gets on the mic and calls for Cena's attention. He talks about wanting to thank him, cutting a typical Wyatt-style promo. From there, we head to the back to see Evolution is next. We head to another commercial. When we return from the break, Motorhead plays, and all three members of Evolution make their way to the ring. We see highlights of what happened before, with the Shield beating down Evolution backstage. As expected, Evolution are looking quite annoyed at what happened as they watch the video. Randy Orton begins talking about how he's had enough and that it's time to take the gloves off. He tells Triple H that it's time to put the Hounds of Justice to sleep. Batista just shouts repeatedly that he's had enough. Triple H says maybe they're right, maybe it's time to take the gloves off, maybe it's time to put this thing with the Shield to the end. He says they proved at Extreme Rules how good they are. He says he knew that all along, which is why he brought them to the WWE and why he coddled them. He says maybe now they've had enough. He says maybe earlier tonight that was the last straw. The game continues by laughing about the fact that the Shield asked for a rematch at the upcoming WWE Payback event. He says this time the gloves will be off and they will take the Shield apart one by one. Triple H describes one-on-one what Evolution is going to do specifically to each member of the Shield. He talks about taking out Dean Ambrose. He talks about Seth Rollins being the architect and how he is going to pull the wings off the hummingbird himself. He then gets to Roman Reigns and says when they kill off Ambrose and Rollins, they will make an example of the big dog, obviously referring to Reigns. He tells Triple H that Reigns will fail to adapt and he's about to say perish, but then another ambush as the Shield come out of nowhere, pretty much nowhere, as the fans didn't even react to it until Seth Rollins hit Triple H. and they attacked Evolution. All three members of the Shield take out Evolution one by one when the smoke all clears. Triple H, Randy Orton and Batista on their way out on top of the entrance ramp backing up. Triple H brings out a microphone, Batista snatches it off him and he shouts again how he's had enough. I'm guessing he's had enough based on the amount of times he said it. He calls out Roman Reigns, he wants him one-on-one tonight, and with that said, Evolution's music plays as the announcers put over Batista versus Roman Reigns as a confirmed match for later tonight. After commercial, we're treated to another Divas match. 2 toilet breaks in one night. Nikki Bella taking on Natalya. I think some Total Diva storyline has an effect on this, I have no idea. Eva Marie is the special referee, but nobody really cares as Nikki Bella defeats Natalya. Next match, Curtis Axel with Ryback in his corner takes on United States Champion Sheamus. The bell rings, it's time for one-on-one action. Axel taps to the cloverleaf, but we go to another weird commercial break. Ryback attacks Sheamus before the commercial break and he's still attacking him after the commercial break. But yeah, it looks as if we've now got a one-on-one match between Ryback and Sheamus, as Sheamus wins that one as well. After another commercial break, it's commercial breaks everywhere, Stephanie McMahon comes out and addresses what Daniel Bryan said earlier in the evening. She says that all Bryan proved was what she said earlier, is that like she's been saying all along, he's not an A+ player. She says because she doesn't know what his surgery will mean, she needs him to come down to the ring so she can tell him something. Instead of Daniel Bryan's music, Kane's music hits. Kane's pyro explodes and we see Kane dragging Bryan by the arm. We can obviously see Bryan helping himself along the way as well. Bryan is completely unconscious and his lifeless body is being dragged to the ring by the Big Red Machine. Kane leaves Bryan laying on the ramp. Stephanie runs up to see what's going on as a ton of officials and medics attend to the champion. His wife Brie does come out to see how well he's doing. Bryan is loaded onto a stretcher. Brie, Stephanie, referees all look concerned, and he is wheeled to the back. And then Bryan is being stretchered into an ambulance in the back. Medics are there, Stephanie, Brie by his side as he's in the ambulance. Stephanie looks concerned and is apologising repeatedly, saying she didn't know King would do that. Meanwhile, Brie is staring a hole through Stephanie, looking quite angry. When the ambulance doors close, Brie and Stephanie are left there standing alone together. Stephanie does try to apologise to Brie, but Brie pushes Stephanie and says leave them alone. She gets in the ambulance with her husband. As the ambulance pulls off, Steph is shown via camera close-up, looking very, very angry at what Brie just did. Next match, Dolph Ziggler takes on Fandango. Layla there plays a big part in Fandango losing as Ziggler hits the zigzag for the victory as Fandango and Layla kiss again after the match, making everyone, including JBL, uncomfortable. I didn't even know that was possible. When we return from commercial, WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan's theme music plays. He comes out with his 2x4, the American flag. The fans break into a USA chant followed by the loud whore chant that Duggan does so well. He briefly mentions Legends House. I thought this was just going to be a promo hyping up, trying to get people turned into the WWE Network, but actually he's cut off by the ravishing Russian Lana. Lana makes her way to the top of the stage. She insults Duggan for a little while, but is cut off by the fans with a loud USA chant. Lana then goes on a typical weekly promo putting over Rusev and Vladimir Putin. Duggan cuts her off and leaves the fan in another big USA chant. And she finally introduces Rusev. Rusev and Lana make their way to the ring where Duggan still stands looking quite afraid. As he's looking worried, but he has a 2x4 ready to swing. But Lana does stop Rusev from potentially crushing Duggan. Lana tells Duggan to beg for mercy. Hacksaw Jim Duggan says no and leaves the fans in another USA chant. Rusev takes the 2x4 from Duggan and breaks it over his knee. Lana tells Duggan that was his one chance. Rusev goes to attack, but out of nowhere Big E's music hits. Big E runs down to the ring. As soon as he enters the ring, Rusev dominates Big E, battering him with ease and knocking him out of the ring. That does it for that segment, but that could be a good feud as well. Rusev and Big E, at least give Big E something to do, and he's not always the top dog in a feud. Damien Sandow's music then hits. He comes out with a microphone. He addresses his shoot promo earlier on the Raw pre-show. As he enters the ring, before he can continue speaking, Cody Rhodes and Goldust cut him off. His opponent Cody, with his brother Goldust behind him, made their way to the ring. Evenly fought match, but as expected, Cody Rhodes still picks up the victory. Later, the Wyatt family cutting happens. We see Bray Wyatt along with Luke Harper and Eric Rowan in the background. A typical Bray Wyatt style promo, trashing John Cena, ending with him singing "He's got the whole world in his hands." Now time for Roman Reigns, who has his Shield partners in his corner, taking on Batista, who has Triple H and Randy Orton in his corner. Evolution in this main event. After the Wyatt family promo, the Shield are in the ring, led by Roman Reigns through the crowd. Evolution music hit, out comes Batista, followed by Triple H and Orton. The Animal enters the ring as the bell sounds. Our main event is official. With some help from outside interference, Batista takes the early lead in the match against, the big dog of the Shield. Eventually things settle down and Reigns gains the upper hand against the Animal. Basically, again, I have no idea what happens. All hell ends up breaking loose, all 6 guys going tooth and nail on the floor. The referee calls for the bell, he can't control it. I don't know if that was a count-out disqualification. I'm classing it as a no contest. I don't know what the official call was. Anyway, back inside the ring, the Shield members are stomping away at the 3 members of Evolution inside the ring. Stephanie McMahon comes out on the stage. She's waving out all of the heels from the locker room who will hit and attack the ring. Nice to see another Damien Sandow cameo there, although he doesn't really cause much damage. But Ambrose and Rollins now have chairs. They clear the entire ring of heels that just came down. All 3 members of Evolution back out of the ring and head up the ramp as they look on at the Shield beating down on other heels in the ring. Reigns hits a Superman punch on one of the guys. He spears Ryback, and then they call for the triple powerbomb. Ambrose and Rollins lift him up, hoist him up onto Roman Reigns, and they hit the triple powerbomb on him. The Shield's music plays as the Hounds of Justice stand tall in the ring. That's how Raw ends. I'm classing it as a no contest. A decent Raw, to be fair. Of course, Bryan's announcement was a surprise. I think obviously a few outlets were reporting that he has suffered some sort of injury. We weren't sure if it was true or not, whether it was storyline where he can tend to his family. He has officially had surgery. We will talk about that a little later on. That was surprising. That kind of changed the entire outlook of Raw for the remainder of the night. For me personally, it was good to see that they're giving Damien Sandow something to do. As I said, you can watch the pre-show online somewhere. Hopefully this does lead somewhere. But yeah, a good Raw. Nothing overly impressive. Notably, no Cesaro, no Heyman. But it was a decent show. Hopefully next week and the week after as we lead on to Payback. Because, everything's still up in the air regarding the title. Hopefully the shows do become better. But yeah, 3.5 out of 5. I don't think it was that bad, but nothing overly impressive. This now takes us to the NXT review, which aired here in the UK on Thursday, I believe. We're now a mere 2 weeks away from NXT TakeOver, and on the night we finally found out who will challenge Adrian Neville for his NXT Championship. Tyler Breeze, Sami Zayn, Tyson Kidd went at it in a triple threat number contenders match in the main event after last week's Battle Royal resulted in a tie. But yeah, that's exactly how the night starts. We're recapped of the Battle Royal, which highlights there was no clear winner, hence the triple threat match in the main event. The first match of the night, we start with tag team action, with the champions, the Ascension, taking on jobbers, basically, Buddy Murphy and Elias Samson. Wasn't a spectacular match, but just allowed Murphy and Samson firstly to pick up some experience inside the ring, but the match was heavily focused on the continued dominance of the Ascension, hitting the 4-Love man for the quick victory. The commentators did talk a lot about the state of the tag team division, hinting that there will be new teams formed in NXT. Saying that, the Ascension highlighted after the match their own dominance, telling NXT to bring them someone new to destroy. Q, El Local and his new partner, the impressive Kalisto. El Local challenges the Ascension to a tag team championship match, and the match is now official, NXT TakeOver, while Kalisto starts a loud Lucha, Lucha, Lucha chant. Let's hope he's not in the Sin Cara, but he is really impressive in the ring. I'd recommend you check him out. But yeah, the Ascension did look pleased with a new set of opponents. Backstage, Sami Zayn is there. He talked about how his match tonight is a chance to redeem himself and he wants to become NXT champion. He mentions that he sometimes becomes obsessive, such as his obsession to defeat Cesaro in the past. Now he is obsessed with becoming NXT champion. It won't be easy, but he says he'll do anything it takes to reach his goal. The second match of the night is the semi-final match for the vacant NXT Women's Championship Tournament. Alexa Bliss takes on Charlotte. A longer match than the first, surprisingly. Good opportunity for the Divas to show what they are capable of. As expected, Charlotte did pick up the victory over Bliss after being hit with the bow down to the Queen for the pinfall victory. Now Charlotte advances to the final. We finally hear that Tyler Breeze has entered the building. A little later on, he does mention how he is ready to win in the main event because he's fighting two ugly Canadians. Third match of the night, a good match on paper. Mojo Rawley takes on Aiden English, who once more impressed with his vocal skills during his entrance. He continues to impress more and more. He should be a successful heel if the ball isn't dropped with him. Unfortunately, the match wasn't as long, but it was a good match for the time it was given. Rawley utilised his football background, hitting a few tackles. English stayed in the match, did get some offense in, but Mojo Rawley, as expected, did pick up the victory over English. He hit a few splashes in the corner, then hit the hyperdrive for the victory. Mojo Rawley defeats Aiden English. Backstage, Tyson Kidd, who is in action in the main event, he mentioned that he wants to win here to make himself into a bigger deal in NXT. He's the leader of the pack in NXT and will be the brand's champion come TakeOver. Tyson Kidd, I think it's good that he is getting the recognition he deserves. NXT is a wonderful brand, but Tyson Kidd is possibly one of two most underrated superstars in the WWE. I think it is his microphone skills which do let him down, but he's such a fantastic worker. No disrespect to NXT, but he doesn't belong there. But the fans do want him to be successful, and he might do something in NXT. The fourth match, Angelo Dawkins is treated to the jobber entrance. His opponent, Big Cass. It looks as if he will no longer be called Colin Cassidy, which is good. A good match, and the crowd were firmly behind Big Cass as he destroyed Dawkins for the entire 3 minutes. He hit the East River Crossing after a soft SAWFT elbow for the victory. CJ Parker interrupted the match as well, very briefly holding a recycling sign as Big Cass defeats Angelo Dawkins. Backstage, NXT Commissioner John Bradshaw Layfield, he's interrupted by Bo Dallas. He's all suited and booted up. He's holding a bunch of papers, bunch of letters from the fans who say he should get another NXT Championship shot, and the fans on his very own hotline thinks he should too. JBL says he should hand the papers to CJ Parker so he can recycle them before he offers Bo Dallas an alternative. He says Dallas hasn't done anything impressive to get himself in the NXT Championship picture, but he will give him a match. He tells Bo Dallas if he does win his next match, he will get NXT Championship title shot, but if he loses, he must leave NXT. He does look a little worried, but Bo Dallas asks who his opponent is. JBL tells him he has 5 guesses, obviously clearly hinting at Big E, but Dallas believes it's John Cena. He gets really happy when he thinks it's John Cena, but JBL tells him that he will take on Big E at NXT TakeOver. Bo Dallas is undefeated against Big E, and he remains confident that he will defeat Big E once again. Main event time for the highly anticipated main event, a triple threat match between Tyler Breeze, Tyson Kidd, Sami Zayn, where the winner will take on Adrian Neville at NXT TakeOver for the NXT Championship. Brilliant match. Brilliant match. All three men were looking good whenever they were on the attack. Breeze was surprising in the match. At times he looked a genuine threat to win this. If you didn't, I did read, obviously beforehand because it's taped, what happened, but personally if I didn't know what was going to happen, I would have thought Tyler Breeze had this match because he did come agonizingly close a number of times. But you too, if you avoided the spoilers beforehand and you watched the match, you probably wouldn't have been able to guess which way this match would go. Zayn and Kidd came agonizingly close as well multiple times. In the end, it was Tyler Breeze that was pinned. Tyson Kidd threw Sami Zayn outside of the ring, proceeded to hit a top rope elbow on Tyler Breeze to pick up the victory. Good finish as well because Sami Zayn made it to the ring just at the 3 count, about to break it up. He was left stunned as to how close he actually came. That means Tyson Kidd takes on Adrian Neville. I think this will probably now result in a match between the two losers of this match, Sami Zayn and Tyler Breeze at NXT TakeOver. I don't think NXT will, or they can't afford to keep them off the card. Which will now be live on the WWE Network as well, NXT TakeOver, so do tune into that. If you do have the network, it looks like a decent card. This episode, a good solid episode of NXT, a worthy win in Tyson Kidd, although he should be on the main roster as I've said. Fantastic main event, and I can easily say from the SmackDown I reviewed and watched, from the Raw I reviewed and watched, this was, the main event was the best wrestling match from the 3 shows, and that shows you what there is available on NXT if you are a pure wrestling fan. I'm excited to see more of Kalisto as well as El Local as they take on the Ascension. That should be a fun match to watch, and yeah, TakeOver looks to be a good event. So yeah, if you did watch SmackDown, Raw, or NXT, all three in fact. If you are a hardcore wrestling fan, then please do let me know in any way possible what you thought of the shows and what you did or didn't enjoy for that matter, and we can compare. Right then, final segment for today, the news section, and as you can probably guess, there is a lot of news to get through. Batista, the Animal, will be starring alongside former UFC welterweight champion George St. Pierre in a remake of the 1989 film Kickboxer. Great film, Jean-Claude Van Damme film. Batista will be playing the role of the antagonist Tong Po. That should be good. Internally, there are a lot of eyes on Adam Rose since his debut. People inside the WWE believe his debut was a failure. Dave Meltzer reported that it's a bigger story that people are letting on, but he doesn't know why. But yeah, I guess we will find out soon enough what the situation with Adam Rose. He is scheduled to have his first match at the Payback event, but that's not confirmed yet. As I mentioned a little earlier, Damien Sandow cut a shoot promo on the Raw pre-show, which again you can probably find online. Basically, he interrupted the panel and he ripped the segment. He made fun of the segment where a couple of weeks ago he was with Hugh Jackman. He asks whether he has to wear a superhero costume anymore. He says he'll probably get stuck tagging with Yoshitatsu, so he's going to make this count. His microphone was cut off. He got in Josh Matthews' face, asked him if he was afraid. Then he made a comment about the WWE being a publicly traded company before walking away. That is a little interesting. We'll see what happens. Daniel Bryan has had successful neck surgery. It's unclear how long he will be out for or he won't be able to compete for, but he is scheduled to be on Raw in some capacity next week. That's taking place here in England, in the capital in London, so it should be via satellite. The future of the titles will also be decided on the same Raw. Who knows whether they will strip Bryan off the gold or whether he will keep them a little longer and defend them once he is back. That could be as early as Payback, but I do doubt it. I do doubt they will risk his fitness, his health, his well-being. If not Payback, Money in the Bank or SummerSlam, but I think SummerSlam will be too late, so he probably will be stripped. Money in the Bank, I think they can get away with it because that as well is still in June. The WWE did a segment on the WWE app with Stephanie McMahon. During the segment, Alicia Fox went up to Stephanie McMahon and said she quits the WWE. This will probably lead into an angle featuring a stable of frustrated wrestlers, as we've said before. Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, Zack Ryder are some of those. Damien Sandow as well. Who knows? Taking also the fact that they've done this on the app and the pre-show, which is on the network. So this could be specifically to drive people to the WWE network. We're still about 11 months away, but WWE has already put out a couple of names that they are considering for next year's Hall of Fame. It's already been reported that The Rock is a possibility for next year, but that would depend on his obviously hectic movie schedule. If not, they're going to try to work out a deal for Goldberg, so he could possibly headline it. He is interested in returning, so maybe a Hall of Fame place will match that. While Sting is also rumoured, if he does indeed make his potentially highly anticipated debut in the WWE. Rikishi and Mickie James are also being considered. In an interview with The Roman Show, Chris Masters, former WWE superstar, said he had doubts that Cesaro actually slammed Big Show out of the ring during the Andre the Giant Battle Royal at WrestleMania 30. He said, "I'm pretty sure Big Show jumped for him. Not to take anything away from Cesaro, he looks like a talented worker who can probably bring his work down a little bit and his body up. But that's just my opinion. If he slammed the Big Show, then I can probably press the Big Show." Sour grapes, I guess. Take-Two may not be releasing WWE 2K15 until 2015, basically. Game Informer has the news revealed that during the company's latest earnings call, it was noted that the game is listed for 2015. That goes as far as March 31st of next year. Obviously, that is a wide window. It could still be released this year, but it is worth noting that the NBA, 2K15, Borderlands, all those type of games were all listed as fall 2014. So yeah, that just probably shows WWE haven't got a solid date set for that. It could be pushed back. It is worth noting that Visual Concepts are helping out in the development. Ukes aren't involved anymore. This game will be on the next-gen systems. It could simply be taking a lot more time to have the game released on the next-gen consoles. And My Career Mode is touted to appear in the game for those of you that aren't familiar with it, or you've played the My Career Mode in NBA 2K series. You'll know that My Career Mode is a fantastic game mode. I can safely say it's the best mode I've played in any sport game, and I hope it's quite similar. But you basically create a superstar, work your way up the NXT ladder, make the jump to the main roster as you work towards capturing a championship. If it does go ahead, it should be good. Visual Concepts Shouldn't be underestimated. Definitely looking forward to that one. They could be releasing the game towards WrestleMania because a lot of people will buy it towards the hype and to coincide with a potential Goldberg return. Every year's Road to WrestleMania is one full of rumours and speculation, and the Road to WrestleMania 30 was no exception. Among the many rumours, such as Sting, Goldberg, there was one floated around that Shawn Michaels was considered or was asked to come out of retirement in order to face Daniel Bryan at some point leading up to the pay-per-view. On the Jim Ross Report podcast, Michaels did say he shot that down. Nothing was ever discussed within the company. Roman Reigns appeared to be injured in a match with Randy Orton during the main event of a show in Glasgow a couple of days ago. Reigns wrestled Orton in a cage match. He went to spear Orton. Orton looked to have been trying to turn the spot into a turning body slam, but there seemed to be some miscommunication. They both cracked heads. Reigns was very bloody, but he did finish the match, but he did look quite out of it. Just check his Twitter if you want to see his nasty eye injury. I don't know why you would. But at the moment it said neither man suffered a concussion. This obviously would have had a massive effect on Payback. First, Daniel Bryan has a question mark above his head, and Reigns and Orton would have been massive blows as well. There have been grumblings in WWE from referees about pay. It's been said that referees are having troubles making ends meet due to road expenses. The referees are paid less than the talent, but paid in the same way. So it depends how good business is. If it's a good day, they'll get paid a lot. If it's a bad day, they're not paid so much. So they are hurt the worst when house show business is down, and they have the same road expenses that the talent have, and in some cases, increasing road expenses. It's expected that Brock Lesnar will return for this year's SummerSlam event. It was recently reported that he is also being considered for the Night of Champions event as well. The plan here is for him to have a two-show feud, fighting with the same superstar at both pay-per-views. Right now, the current names are Cesaro and Daniel Bryan. I prefer to see a Cesaro match because it allows Cesaro to build himself up in the next few months as a top face and then take on Lesnar, whereas Daniel Bryan can still have a number of feuds. I think this is done because the WWE Network subscription renewals will start around September, so WWE wants to provide as much star power as it can to that pay-per-view. WWE have signed a new TV deal, keeping Raw on the USA Network and SmackDown on Sci-Fi. There were a lot of rumours that SmackDown would be going live, but that is not the case anymore. It appears that Prince Devitt, independent wrestler, has signed with the WWE at last. At this time, he is expected to begin WWE developmental training in August. Those who worked with Devitt in Japan expected him to sign since the start of the year. Fantastic wrestler. Watch some of his work on YouTube. Really good work in the ring. I think he's 33 years old, something like that. Still good. He is also famous for some incredible body art he displays. Pretty cool stuff. Just check on Google. It's being said that Triple H is in kind of a rough position when it comes to talent relations for WWE. Basically, Vince McMahon is still the guy making all the final calls, and because he's known to change his mind so often, Triple H is basically forced to go to talent multiple times, explaining what he had told them previously was no longer happening. Despite being in a rough situation, it's being said that Triple H is still viewed as one of the guys to a lot of the talent in the company. Some big news over the last 24 to 48 hours. WWE stock plunged following the announcement of their deal with NBC Universal. The stock closed at $19.93, which was up 3%, but was down $4.24, down a huge 21% at that time in after hours trading. The reason for this is the announcement that the new deal will be for $200 million, which is contrary to Vince McMahon's statement on last year's earnings call that they expected to at least double the value of their last TV deal, which they obviously haven't. Last year's numbers were about $160 million. As the hours went by, more updates came out, more shocking as well figures. The WWE stock has now, at the minute, plunged to 43.5%. Bad times ahead for the WWE. This shows you how worried WWE is about the stock plummeting, as they are going to have Vince McMahon speak on it as soon as possible to try and calm down their investors. Basically, they're in panic mode. That's the easiest way to put it. Easiest way I can explain it. WWE will have an emergency conference call on Monday to address the company's outlook. Vince McMahon has lost roughly $340 million due to that stock drop, so obviously he will have some input on it. But just for the record, Vince McMahon does own 50% of WWE's Class A stock, 80% of WWE's Class B stock, meaning he has roughly 82% of the voting power. So any outside group who's trying to buy the WWE stock and trying to influence change may be able to pressure the WWE a little bit, but Vince McMahon is pretty much untouchable right now given the number of shares he owns. In other news though, law firm Kahn, Swick and Forty has issued a statement announcing that Charles Forty Jr., a partner at their firm and former Attorney General of Louisiana, has launched an investigation into the WWE's deal with NBC Universal. The statement notes that WWE disclosed that it had reached a multi-year deal with US broadcaster NBC Universal for its long-running Raw and SmackDown programs, stating that the annual value of the television distribution agreements would reach $200 million, well below what investors were expecting. They are looking at whether WWE officers and directors violated that state or federal securities laws. God knows what the hell is happening right now, but let's hope that this is all resolved as soon as possible and can continue with normal proceedings with nothing to worry about. Noah Kikoa, a graduate of the Wild Samoans Pro Wrestling Training Center, has signed a developmental deal with the WWE. Again, I didn't know much of him. Literally an hour, 2 hours ago, when I was writing everything up, I watched his work. Impressive stuff. The good thing about him, he has a look as well. He looks like he has it, which is a bonus in the WWE, and of course fantastic in the ring. Another man who is rumoured to be appearing in the WWE very soon is Kenta. He's scheduled to make his final Pro Wrestling Noah appearance tonight, which is Saturday. The appearance will take place at the Korakuen Hall. It's been sold out now ever since they found out that this will be Kenta's final match. A lot of wrestlers in NJPW are telling media outlets that Kenta is definitely headed to the WWE and will debut this summer with the NXT crew. As of this writing, WWE haven't confirmed it. I don't think they will. Personally, I don't think Kenta belongs in NXT. He's a legend on the independent circuit. Hopefully he's only in NXT for a short amount of time. Again, no disrespect to NXT. That's where you hone your talent. That's where you become a superstar. Kenta is already an international superstar. But again, to be on the safe side, you don't want another Sin Cara happening. So I guess I understand where they are coming from. The updated lineup for the May 29th live WWE NXT TakeOver special on the WWE Network, which I urge you guys to watch. Bo Dallas takes on Big E. If Bo Dallas loses, he must leave NXT. I think we know which way that is going to go. NXT Tag Team match, the Ascension defend their gold against Kalisto and El Local. For the vacant NXT Women's Championship, Charlotte takes on Natalya, and the NXT title match, the main event, Adrian Neville defends his championship against Tyson Kidd. Finally, right now, only 2 matches for Payback have been officially confirmed, although I did say Adam Rose versus Jack Swagger has been rumoured. It's pretty much guaranteed to happen, but only 2 matches have been confirmed as of right now. They are the last man standing match between John Cena and Bray Wyatt, and another rematch from Extreme Rules, Evolution taking on The Shield, which could result in an elimination match. The way Triple H was talking on Raw, ripping apart The Shield one by one, it's a good guess that it will be an elimination match. But yeah, that is the news for this week. If you do have something I missed, please do let me know. With that though, that is all I have for you this week. Again, sorry for the delay. As I said, I did this on purpose just so I can get more news in. Put it this way, if I released this on a Tuesday, you can just tell how much news I would have had, probably 2 stories. So yeah, please do bear with me as I will try to upload on Tuesdays as I promised. So again, thank you for listening. Please continue to listen, like, subscribe, comment, recommend, all that fun stuff. And I will again hopefully see you next week, where we will have more news, more details on the state of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and hopefully more details on what is going on with the WWE stock. Again, thank you for listening. It's been a real pleasure talking to you guys, and yeah, I will see you next week.